Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. We are taking the Year 7 LR gods into their final test, which will soon follow up with the final test for the LR SSJ 4s, which of course is Extreme Super Battle Road. But don't forget to drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and if you are using either one of these or even both, do let me know how you've been finding them, and if you're still summoning for one of the other ones you're missing, or both of them. I wish you luck, and there's still time to get more stones to hopefully pull one or both of them, which I hope you manage to do. But one thing I will say immediately, and this was taken from stream the other day, both runs were, hence why I'm doing it like this, and I've kind of got the other rotations where they're not there sped up, is I don't think I've seen dominance in Super Battle Road like this since Super Vegeta dropped on Global. Like, and he destroyed. Of course, I mean, he does have stun on his super, which was helpful at kind of avoiding certain attacks. We have type advantage and things, which was good. But the amount of damage he was guaranteed to do every turn was just insane. Especially if you could get both sets of attack and defense plus 50% before he supered. At least one was still crazy. But the dominance I have seen from the gods doing this run was insane. I mean, to be fair, dominance from both LRSSJ4, both LRs from Year 7. Now, you'll notice I am on a 170 lead team. That is because, of course, ESBR, while it is getting harder, mainly Super Battle Road itself is getting harder, didn't want to take them on a 200% category because that makes it a little bit easier. All of these stages are based off category missions that are in the game, which that's kind of how Super Battle Road and ESBR work. So I didn't want to take them on an old one because then it'd be quite easy to just run through it, not really a fair test or a fair kind of showcase. So I took them on a more recent one, which is Pure Saiyans, which when it first came out, I mean, yes, Super Vegeta made it easier, but it's still quite difficult because it hits so hard. So I took them on a more recent one, and I didn't take them on a 200% category lead to kind of make it fair, because when you're going to be doing ESBR runs, you're going to be doing category missions. So I wanted to kind of have it fair, and we're on a 170 lead team, Pure Saiyans team. So that's why we got the team the way it is. As I said, I haven't seen this type of dominance since probably Super Vegeta, which is crazy. Now, are they probably slightly more suited to a longer event? Yeah, sure. GT Goku event and Vegeta event, any unit that stacks, if you give them a long event like that, where you can almost get up to like 20 turns without really much of an issue, you know, that's when they're going to really get going. You can get their attack and defense up to ridiculous lengths. I mean, the amount of damage they already do is insane. To then make that even better is just ridiculous. So you can't really build them up too much. However, this is why it made me sit there and question, are these two units actually even more, like, are they better in one event than they are in the other? I guess kind of, yes, because of the stacking, and again, stacking on top of what they already do just makes them better, and it kind of rids any defensive issues they may have, which again is only one minor issue with their defense, which is it's not enough in red zone early on, and that's a very minor qualm on two units that are otherwise amazing. But they still done really well here. Now, of course, for 7 turns, you have the attack and defense plus 77%. You're gonna get any extra key plus 1 per type keys for obtained, and you have guaranteed guard for 1 turn. For 1 turn. Now, in something like a GT Goku event or a Vegeta event, yes, you can obviously make use of it. Can you make the most of it? No, because you know, you're not going to really take that much damage unless like the weakest part of your team gets supered immediately, and even then, you're probably not going to be dead considering how much health you're going to have, you know, overall in your team. Whereas ESBR, similarly to Red Zone, obviously nowhere near in terms of difficulty and damage, you're going to be taking attacks potentially from multiple enemies, actually, yes, from multiple enemies 9 times out of 10, straight away from turn 1. Whether it's at least 2 and upward, you're going to be taking multiple attacks from any enemies, and one of those enemies can potentially super attack you, or multiple enemies could super attack you in literally 1 slot. So having the extra attack and defense plus 77%, and the guaranteed guard for 1 turn, on top of the 120 they get at the start of turn before transforming, is very, very handy here. Because, you know, with GT Go event and Vegeta event, it gradually gets harder. You can't make the most of it. Is it helpful? Yes, kind of, but you can't make the most of it. Whereas from the get-go in ESBR, there is multiple enemies, multiple attacks, potentially multiple supers that will do a lot of damage, especially the more recent stages. And having that attack and defense plus 77% is very handy at kind of giving you a cushion, you know, before they can, you know, in Super Battle Road environment, get stacking a little bit. You know, it's not going to be stacked much, but stacking a little bit before they get somewhat going. And then you also have guard for guaranteed 1 turn. Yes, it's only 1 turn, which obviously is, you know, can be frustrating. As I said, since it's like Red Zone where it is go, go, go from as soon as you like start in turn 1 of multiple attacks and supers, it comes in handy a lot. It can help you tank very well on a unit that typically isn't really a slot 1 unit. Are they perfectly in slot 1 because of this? No, but can they handle it briefly for that 1 turn? Yeah, sure. And it's kind of nice to have. Now, obviously, one of the main downsides about being an ESBR is, and I say this all the time, in Super Battle Road, you're typically not in a fight no longer than 5-6 turns. So, getting their active off, not that easy. I say not that easy. It doesn't typically happen. I think I only transformed these two potentially once, maybe twice. And considering how much damage they do, even before stacking up to like ridiculous lengths, means you're getting through the fights quicker, especially when you have type advantage, especially when you're getting the extra key to do an additional, which means you're doing more damage, when you're getting the crit chance per rainbow key sphere obtained, you know, other units getting additionals, crits, etc, etc, etc. The transformations obviously aren't always going to be coming off that often. You know, turn 4 you may be able to get it off. You know, as I said, typically you're spending 5-6 turns in a fight. You know, you might be able to get it off in like the final turn. You're in there, do ridiculous amounts of damage, dip out. It may help you save some items, save some health. Nice, it actually helps. Unfortunately, you may not be able to see the transformation all too often. I mean, depending on what category you're using, but you may not be able to see it that much just because of how quick you can get through these fights with them. So I ran him on rotation with the SSB EZA Vegeta, mainly so we could have, well, not only so I could get, you know, a few of those like Warrior God Links active and stuff like that, give them the extra attack, but also because he's a pure Saiyan's lead, and it just kind of fit well together. So, you know, and unlike this scenario where all placement wasn't that generous to us, I mean, to be fair, if I put SSB in slot 1, I probably could have got around it, but I just kind of didn't. But for the most part, because you're within the 7 turns, and even if when you transform them, you're always getting an extra key plus 1 before you transform. On top of the key plus 1 you're getting anywhere per types of keys for obtained, which means a lot of the time, and I've said this before, you're hardly ever struggling to get at least an 18 key off of these guys. And a lot of the time you're getting that additional off when you get 20 key or more, which in a Super Battle Road environment, getting that additional is incredibly helpful. Considering you have pretty much no time to stack them up, again, very similarly to Red Zone, obviously you're just not taking anywhere near as much damage. But because you're most of the time getting those extra additionals off, or getting the additionals off just in general, sorry, you know, you're going to be supering once in a turn, you know, supering twice in a turn, sorry, majority of the time, which really does help. You know, it helps you build up your attack, which means you're getting through the fights quicker, which is helpful because, you know, not every single unit you're going to be bringing is going to be as good as them, you know, and not every single unit is going to be able to stun someone like Super Vegeta guaranteed for a turn, not have, you know, the damage reduction or guard like a Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta or like a Tech Ultimate Gohan or something. So, you know, it helps out other units, you're getting through the fight a bit quicker, it helps you conserve items, it makes the run easier, and as I said, because of that, I haven't seen dominance in a Super Battle Road environment like this since Super Vegeta, potentially even better. Because of how easy it is to get them key, even though they're not transformed, because you're still within that 7-turn, you know, condition restriction, if you will, because as I said, fights are not taking longer than 5-6 turns. Constantly getting that additional off is so easy, which means you're building up their attack. As I said, you're getting through the fights quicker, but you're also getting your defense up a bit quicker as well to help you tank, because ESBR can do a lot of damage, especially the more recent stages. Even on Super Battle Road, even on SBR, you can still take a decent amount of damage if you're not careful on a super, especially on the newer stages that are kind of accommodating to the better units that have been coming out and 200% leads. So it helps not only get through the event quicker, but give them a little bit of extra defense, a little bit of extra padding, so you're not getting hit by like one super and you're potentially going to be dead if you take like another attack or another super from someone else down in the rotation, which is helpful. And obviously you really get them going with a stacking. No, stacking units don't thrive in this environment. But even so, it's almost like it's not really an issue, it's not really needed, and especially having that attack and defense plus 77% and never having to worry about losing it, because again, you're not spending more than 5-6 turns in a fight. Potentially you're spending 4 because of how much damage you're doing with not only some of the best, you know, units in the game because of the categories they go on. A lot of them are pure Saiyans units, and we're using them now because of how much damage they're also doing. You know, you're getting a little bit of stacks off, you know, you're getting extra supers here and there because of the key you're getting to do the additional, which means they're doing even more damage in turn, which means you're spending even less time in the fight. So sometimes you're not even spending 5-6 turns, you're spending 4. And that's what I said as well. It's a little bit of a shame because obviously when they transform for both LRs, they're going to be doing insane amounts of damage in here and get you through the fight even quicker. But because sometimes you're spending about 4 turns in here, you may get it off just to finish the fight off. But they dominate. They dominate. That first time guard can be handy. It's a shame they don't keep it, but then the unit would just be super OP. But they do so much damage, and having the built-in additional to give them a little bit extra on the stack and guarantee 2 supers, potentially a lot of the time, 2 supers each turn, you're doing even more damage to get out the fight quicker, and a little bit of extra defense to make sure you don't get absolutely clarted by a super attack and not die in one shot. And as I said, they just dominate. Right now, they are dominating everything in the game, no problem. And I know there's not that much of a difference. We've tested it now in technically 2 events right now, which is the 170 lead. I know it doesn't make too much of a difference, but this is on a 170 lead team. And the dominance is so apparent. And again, I know there's not that much of a difference, but it's still crazy to see. It's still crazy to see considering the setup we've got them in with SSBE. I mean, it's not a bad setup. They link quite well together. They do quite well. Easy SB's an amazing Easy A. It's still not even the ideal rotation with Tech Easy A God Goku because it's not even out yet. But honestly, they are crazy good. I think the only way you can even, I wouldn't even say the only way they're bad in ESBR. I would say the only thing with them not being able to stack, and it kind of applies similarly to Red Zone, is because there's so many attacks in ESBR specifically and you can't really stack up too much. If you're in like turn 1, turn 2, and maybe the orb placement hasn't been great, so I'm getting additionals, you could get supered multiple times early on, and I mean any unit's not really surviving, but other than that, they dominate, even here. But do let me know what you think. I think they are ridiculously good. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video, guys, and push!